Apple has managed to navigate the turbulent waters of Trump's tariffs up to this point, but there's a possibility that iPhone prices could still rise. In a notable moment last month, Apple CEO Tim Cook presented President Donald Trump with a striking gold and glass plaque during a White House event, earning praise from Wall Street for his adept handling of the tech giant's relationship with the administration. Analysts noted that Cook had effectively mitigated the looming threat of tariffs on Apple's operations by proposing an impressive $100 billion investment in the US economy, a move that Trump could proudly highlight as a victory for American manufacturing. However, despite the shiny trophy Cook gifted to Trump, the real impact of these tariffs may soon be felt by Apple customers, potentially leading to higher prices for their beloved devices. Thank you all, and a special thanks to President Trump for prioritizing American innovation and jobs, Cook expressed at the event, which marked a commitment of $600 billion in planned spending by Apple in the US over the next 5 years. Trump, in turn, announced that Apple would be exempt from upcoming tariffs on chips, which could otherwise double their prices. As Apple gears up to unveil new iPhones on Tuesday, some analysts are predicting that the company may still raise prices on its devices, despite Cook's efforts to shield the company from the worst tariff impacts. There's a lot of speculation about whether the iPhone will see a price hike, remarked Jeff Fieldhack, a research director at Counterpoint. While smartphones have not yet experienced significant price increases, other consumer goods, such as clothing, shoes, and even coffee, have seen price hikes due to tariff-related costs. Additionally, the electronics sector has not been immune. Companies like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo have raised prices on their gaming consoles this year in the US market. Some analysts on Wall Street are anticipating that Apple will follow suit. For instance, Edison Lee, an analyst at Jefferies, has factored in a $50 increase in his projections for the average selling price of the iPhone 17 in a note released in July, maintaining a hold rating on Apple stock. Meanwhile, analysts at Goldman Sachs suggest that the potential for price increases could elevate the average selling price of Apple's devices over time, especially as the company's lineup increasingly features higher-priced models. This month, Apple is expected to introduce 4 new models in the iPhone 17 series. Last year, the company launched 4 versions of the iPhone 16. The standard iPhone 16 priced at $829, the iPhone 16 Plus at $899, the iPhone 16 Pro at $999, and the iPhone 16 Pro Max at $1,199. This year, many supply chain experts predict that Apple will replace the Plus model, which has not performed as well as the others, with a new, sleeker device that sacrifices some camera features for a lighter, thinner design. Goldman analysts noted that this thinner, lighter form factor may generate some consumer interest, but they also cautioned that trade-offs such as reduced battery life could hinder its competitiveness against Apple's entry-level models. Analysts estimate that this new slim device will be priced around $899, similar to the iPhone 16 Plus, but they have not ruled out the possibility of a price increase. This would still place it below Samsung's recently launched Galaxy S25 Edge, which debuted at $1,099. Apple has not provided any comments regarding these speculations. When Trump announced sweeping tariffs on China and other countries in February, it appeared that Apple was in a precarious position. The company is known for manufacturing the majority of its iPhones and other products in China, and Trump's tariffs threatened to significantly inflate Apple's costs. Some of the tariffs were also aimed at countries like Vietnam and India, where Apple had diversified its production. However, 7 months later, Apple has managed to withstand the tariff pressures better than many anticipated. The US government has temporarily suspended the most severe tariffs on China, and smartphones received an exemption from these tariffs. In May, Cook informed investors that Apple had successfully adjusted its supply chain to import iPhones from India, where tariffs are lower. Cook has also leveraged his relationship with Trump, visiting the White House and presenting the commemorative plaque to the president. This gesture reinforced Trump's agenda to boost high-tech manufacturing in the US, and in return, Trump agreed to exempt Apple from an impending semiconductor tariff. Additionally, a court ruling deemed Trump's IEEPA tariffs illegal, although they remain in effect. Despite these maneuvers, Apple has not completely escaped the repercussions of the tariffs. Cook disclosed that the company incurred $800 million in tariff-related costs during the June quarter, primarily due to the IEEPA tariffs on China. While this amount represented less than 4% of Apple's profits, the company warned that it could face $1.1 billion in tariff expenses in the current quarter. After absorbing these costs for several months, Apple may finally pass some of these expenses on to consumers with the upcoming launch of the iPhone 17 models. Historically, Apple has been cautious about raising hardware prices in the US. For instance, the smaller Pro phone has maintained its price of $999 since its introduction in 2017. However, the company has made some adjustments in pricing over the years. In 2020, Apple increased the price of its entry-level phones from $699 to $829. In 2022, when Apple discontinued the smaller iPhone mini, it replaced it with the larger Plus model, which started at $899. The Pro Max also saw a price increase in 2023, rising from $1,099 to its current price of $1,199. If Apple does decide to raise prices on its phones this year, it is unlikely that management will attribute the increase to tariffs. According to IDC, the average selling price of smartphones globally is on the rise, driven by increasing costs of components like camera modules and chips. Apple is more likely to emphasize the new features of its phones while subtly adjusting the prices. Analysts anticipate that the new iPhones will feature larger screens, enhanced memory, and faster chips designed for artificial intelligence. No one is going to openly state that the price hikes are due to tariffs, remarked IDC analyst Nabila Popal. One potential strategy for Apple to increase prices without drawing attention would be to eliminate the entry-level version of its phones, compelling customers to upgrade for more storage at a higher starting price. Typically, Apple charges an additional $100 to double the storage capacity, from 128 gigabytes to 256 gigabytes. JP Morgan analysts predict that Apple will make such an announcement next week. They expect the company to keep the prices of the entry-level and high-end Pro Max models stable, but they anticipate that Apple will discontinue the entry-level version of the Pro, meaning customers will need to pay $1,099 for an iPhone 17 Pro that offers more base storage than its predecessor. This mirrors how Apple raised the price of the entry-level Pro Max in 2023. However, given Apple's recent commitments to US investments, it is assumed that the company will largely be insulated from tariffs, leading to expectations of minimal price changes, aside from those related to adjustments in the base storage configuration for the Pro model, noted JP Morgan analyst Samik Chatterjee. When Cook was asked about potential price increases during a May earnings call, he stated that there was nothing to announce. He added, "I just want to emphasize that our operational team has done an outstanding job optimizing the supply chain and managing inventory." In conclusion, as Apple prepares for the launch of its new iPhones, the question remains, will the company raise prices, and if so, how will they justify it? This is a topic that could spark a lively debate among consumers and industry experts alike. What are your thoughts on this? Do you believe Apple should raise prices? Or should they absorb the costs? Share your opinions in the comments.